Watch the athleticism and smoothness of these forehands. Here's the same player just 13 minutes later. Watch for those same elements. We were able to make that breakthrough in forehand power and smoothness by focusing on just one specific timing element on his forehand. And in this special lesson, I'm going to show you exactly what it is and exactly how he worked on it so you can do the same thing. But first, let's take a look at Novak Djokovic as he moves in all four directions. On this first forehand, Novak is moving to his left to hit an inside-out forehand. And I want you to notice that by the time the ball touches his racket, his chest is in a forward-facing position and his hips are also in a forward-facing position. After completing that forehand, he's going to run all the way across the court to now hit a forehand while he's moving to his right. And even though he's having to hit on a full run and he's in the air as he hits this shot, as the ball hits his strings, his chest is still unwound all the way to face forward towards the net, and his hips have unwound to face forward towards the net as well. On the next swing, this time he's going to get an easy ball in the middle of the court, and he's going to move forward into the shot. And as he sets up, he's going to time the unwinding of his body so that, again, by the time the ball touches his strings, his chest is facing forward towards the net, and his hips are also facing forward towards the net. On this final shot, he's going to land after his serve, and the return of serve is going to be really deep and penetrating, so he's going to move back while he hits this shot, but even though his momentum is traveling backwards as he starts his swing, he's still going to unwind his body so that by the time the ball touches the racket, his chest is facing forwards towards the net, and his hips have also unwound enough to be facing forward towards the net. It doesn't matter if he's moving to the left or to the right or forwards or backwards. He's prioritizing the unwinding of his body because his torso rotation is the primary power source and energy that's creating the racket head speed that he needs to hit a solid, powerful shot back without having to use his arm to strain and struggle to actually create the power and the acceleration going into the point of contact. So now let's check that against my student. Here's a shot where he's moving to his left to hit an inside-out forehand. As the ball gets close to his racket, I want you to notice how his timing is different. His body is still turning forwards, but it's not even close to the same as Novak. By the time the ball touches the strings, his chest is still facing towards the camera mostly, and so are his hips. Here's one where he's going to move to his right along the baseline. And as he meets the ball, look at where his chest and where his hips are facing. Again, mostly towards the camera. They have not unwound in time to be facing towards the net. Here's one where he's moving forward for a shorter ball and stepping inside the baseline like Novak was. Here's contact, and even on this easier, shorter one, his chest is not facing the net and his hips are not facing the net either. And finally, the toughest one of all, now he's getting pushed back away from the baseline, and as he hits the ball, his chest, again, is facing towards the camera. His hips are facing towards the camera. They have not unwound soon enough to be facing forwards. Now, before you say to yourself, well, I don't have that problem. I know I rotate my body. Duh, that's like the most basic thing ever. This is critically important. My student here is not turning his body. He's starting off in a strong position to the side. His upper body's a little bit coiled past his lower body, and he is unwinding, but the timing that he's using is just too late. And what's really the most deceptive about this is if we keep going forward in time, you'll see that his torso, his hips, and his chest keep turning. And he doesn't finish his rotation until he's facing all the way at the other side of the court, the opposite side fence. So he's gone through a full 180-degree rotation here in his body. But the element that he's missing, and the reason why his original forehands looks more clunky and looks more rigid and looked more tight and like he was kind of struggling to hit the ball, is because the timing that he's using to unwind his body is just too late. He is using his body, but not at the right time. And here are the drills that we did to help re-engage him and get him unwinding at the proper time. Drill number 1 was I simply asked this student to go through some slow, smooth shadow swings where he focused on making sure his kinetic chain was firing correctly, meaning the big, strong parts of his torso, his chest, his hips were leading the swing and his arm following behind. Now, this is what he thought he was doing all along, but he didn't realize that his timing had gotten out of whack and that he was just initiating it too late. So this first step is just simply for him to remind himself what order that he does want his body to move in and make sure that he can smoothly, seamlessly flow in the correct order without the ball even being there. All right, step number 2, I've been experimenting with this with students recently. I found a lot of success with it. I'm asking him to slowly shadow here and then pause at what he thinks is an ideal contact position, and then just check in with his body and his racket, his hand, his position, and just kind of take kind of a mental bookmark, maybe a kinesthetic bookmark, and just feel what position is his body in. I think this is really important, just to set the intention in the mind and feel with the body. This is where I want to be by the time that things reach this moment in time. I think this is a powerful thing to just check in, set the intention, and make sure that you can lock in at the correct spot at the correct time. To continue your training, developing your forehand power, make sure to go to forehandpower.com and pick up my most powerful free training on how to add 15 miles per hour to your forehand in just 15 minutes of practice. I'll walk you through real life case studies, just like the one in this video, but much more in detail, much more in depth, and you'll have an A to Z plan the next time you walk out onto the court to train your body for power, smoothness, efficiency, so that you can add 15 miles per hour to your forehand literally in just 15 minutes of practice. It's absolutely free. All you have to do to pick it up is go to forehandpower.com. Step 3 is to start hitting some easy underhand tosses with this focus and with this intention in mind. And so now we have, the hard part, okay? The hard part about this isn't knowing how to move your body. The hard part isn't coordinating it correctly. The hard part is in real life, we have this fuzzy yellow object flying at X miles per hour in one direction and then picking out the right moment in time to unwind your body so that by the time the fuzzy object gets to your racket, your body is in already a strong athletic position. If we don't line up those things in space and time, then the arm is going to have to jump in and take over and end up whacking the ball, which is what leads to so many rigid, tight, unpowerful forehands that everyday tennis players hit. So let's check in here. Does he find the right time? Here's contact. Are his hips facing forward and is his chest facing forwards? Yes. Here comes another one. By the time the ball touches the racket, is he facing forwards? Yes. Then doing some shadows just to rehearse. And then here's another one. By the time the ball touches the racket, is he facing forwards? Yes. Fantastic. Now, noteworthy, obviously, this is very easy, and this is where you should start working on this. No movement, no speed on the ball, no stress or strain, just to start practicing and rehearsing. Oh, he's a little bit short on this one. Until 9 out of 10, the body's in correct position at the right time. Step 4 is to now create more space between the coach and the students, and now that necessitates more speed of the ball coming off the racket to make it all the way to my student here back on the baseline. So the timing is now more difficult. But my student here absolutely nailed it after the practice on the service line. And if we check in now with these, the reason why they look so good in the intro is because he's now hitting that magical position by the time the ball touches the racket. That puts the body in a very strong, stable position. It allows the arm and the hand to stay relaxed because the body is contributing so much more force when it unwinds all the way into the point of contact. And this is how you can start developing a much stronger, much smoother, much more efficient forehand that is a weapon without having to muscle and try hard. The next step after this, step number 5, would be to start including movement, moving a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, a little bit forward, a little bit backward. And the best players in the world, like Novak, are able to still unwind and hit the right timing with their kinetic chain, regardless of what direction they're moving. Now, just to be clear, It's not that Novak is always facing forwards. Under extreme stress because of an excellent shot from their opponent, you will see all world-class players get caught with their body not unwinding to where it should be. But it's a spectrum. The closer they are to neutral, the more consistently they're going to do it. And the closer they are to extreme defense, the less likely their body is going to physically be able to get around to that position. The difference between them and us everyday players is everyday players don't get to a strong position even on the easiest of shots, and that's why this type of training is so critical to your improvement. Hope this lesson was helpful. Thank you so much for watching today. And remember, if you'd like to continue developing a smooth, effortless, powerful forehand, just go to forehandpower.com and sign up for the free training that will show you how to add 15 miles per hour to your forehand in just 15 minutes of practice. Take care and keep up the great work on your game.